Yo, what's going on, my Lord of the Rings fans? We're back with another Rise to War video. Hope you guys are doing great today. I've been getting very excited for season 2, which should be coming up in a couple weeks. And I've been prepping, thinking of the things that I want to focus on for the next season. And so I wanted to come out with some videos helping you guys decide on which commanders to focus on next season. Today I'm going to be going over some of the tier 1 commanders, people that most people are going to have access to. Some of the higher tier commanders, tier 2, tier 3, I know not everybody has. I can do a video on some of those guys in the future if you would like, but today I wanted to focus on the tier 1 commanders that I figure most people have. And yeah, let's get right into it. So for my favorite tier 1 commander, the best one in my opinion, the one that you should be focusing on, the first is gonna be my boy Dwalin. Dwalin's an absolute beast. You can look at his base stats here. He's got very high might. He's a warrior, which gives him even more might. He's a very strong attacker, but he also has healing abilities, which makes him pretty interesting, very versatile and usable in a lot of situations. Even with just his base stuff right here, respect 1, he's going to be extremely strong. He has the healing abilities through the musician. He can remove random debuffs and heal unit with the highest defense. So Dwalin is a beast, not only because of his healing, but he's also an insane attacker. Even on just the first one, he can do very big damage and take down some big armies. But Dwalin gets really good once you get into the respect 3 and respect 5. If you have access to those, Dwalin becomes he's top tier in the game. Even as a tier 1 commander, he is very good. If you have him above if you have him to respect 3, you can go full attack with just these two and worry less about the healing. It depends on what you're trying to go for. If you want to lose less troops, you can go for more healing. But the double attack with Dwalin is pretty insane. And his tier 5 is also really good for burn damage and large units. The burn damage is really nice if you're fighting Balrogs or dragons. If you get into anything like that, I'm probably going to make another video on that too. But Dwalin is probably the best character in the game that I've found so far to take down dragons and Balrogs. So I absolutely love Dwalin. You can get a mix of healing and attack, or you go full attack, and he's an absolute monster. I think he should be the ¡1 tier 1 commander that you're focusing on. If you have access to a lot of commanders, it's going to be a little bit difficult to decide who to go with on season 2 if you have a lot of commanders like I do. So you're going to want to be focusing on your best guys when you can, and I think Dwalin is going to be the best starter guy to go with. Besides Dwalin, there's a few good characters in here. I like the thing about the game is they didn't put all the best people in like the 3rd tier. There's a lot of good people in the 1st tier, and so that's what I wanted to focus on today. Another really slept on guy, I mean, I don't know how slept on, but is Boromir, because he's the only commander, I believe, in the tier 1 that has the leader trait, and the leader trait gets you +5 to your command. So that's basically, if he's a level 10, he can have the same army as a level 15. So it's more troops to his army, and so at lower levels that's going to help a lot if you're taking higher tier tiles, because Boromir is going to be able to have more troops in his army, and he has some pretty good things in his tree, but I really like his leader stat. He's the only tier 1 commander with it, so you can get some big armies on your Boromir without having him super high level. For Boromir, I would definitely focus on his attack, his warden, and then his defense is good as well. Some of his higher tier ones go into more like first instance of damage avoiding. I don't think that's as important, but he has some more attack stats here. And then his tier 5 is really good, just increased damage, you know, increased damage across the board, and the counter attack, so that's just more damage. So Boromir is really good for his command stat. You're gonna be able to get some big armies on your Boromir because of the leader stat that he has. So Boromir is definitely in my top tier for some of the level 1 commanders. It's gonna depend on what you're going for, what you're trying to do. For example, Hirgon is very slept on, but he is probably the best sieger in the game, at least on the good side for commanders we have. If you look at his level 1 under logistics, he gets army siege +1, and you can get that all the way to +7. So some massive siege armies you can have on Hirgon, which is going to be big for taking keeps, taking some of those large areas, destroying enemy bases. The siege helps a lot. So like I said, it's going to depend on what you're going for. If you want to be sieging more things, if you want to be the siege guy, you don't have the best attackers, you can go big on Hirgon and get some massive siege armies going. He also has some pretty decent attacking abilities, and once you get him up to tier 3, he gets some healing abilities, which is nice. You can do the round 7 onwards, and you can get this up to 100%, I believe. So he does have some other things besides the siege, but if you're going to be focusing on him, that's like his thing. So if you want a good sieger, you want to be doing massive siege damage, go with my guy Hirgon. And yeah, Hirgon's really good as well. Dwalin, Boromir, Hirgon, some of the best people. I know that you start the game with Faramir, and he's not a bad option, but to me, he doesn't really do anything too crazy until basically you have to get him to respect 5. So if you do have him respect 5, I do like Faramir, but I just think, like, if you have to get him to respect 5 for some of his defense and damage boosts, it's not usually as worth it unless you have him up there. He's a decent one to start with. He gets commander boost and experience boost. So Faramir is not bad, but I think some of the other people are just a little bit better at what they do. Haldir is an absolute monster, especially if you have access to any type of special units. Beasts, as you can see here, recover 14%, and you can get that all the way up to 100%. So that can be crazy good if you have access to eagles or Bjornings. What else is a beast? I don't know, but those are going to be very, very good paired with Haldir. So if you have access to some of the special units, and even if you don't, Haldir is still very good with his attack, and then he can also do where is it? He can do poison damage, I believe, on his tier 3 right here, and you can get this up pretty high to like 50%, I think, or something like that. So poison damage is really good for special units and anything other than that. So Haldir is an absolute beast as well. Allied range unit has a 3% chance of attacking twice. I think you can get this up to like 25%. So 25% chance to attack twice each round for rangers. That's also really good. Haldir is a beast. I wouldn't focus too much on Merry and Pippin. They have some healing abilities, but I don't think they're worth it at all. Same thing with Ori. He's not bad. He has the healing abilities, but this would be a commander that you would have to get to like tier 5 for him to be really good. And obviously not everybody, or respect 5, I mean, not everybody's going to be able to do that. So it's up to you to decide if that's worth it or not. I'm personally not going to be focusing on Ori as much. Really going to try to focus on my Dwalin, especially for killing Balrogs. The Boromir getting his big army, and if I want to be sieging my Haldir, or Hirgon, sorry. And the last one I'll touch on is Eowyn, because she is good depending on which type of units you have. She's a beginner horse master, whatever you want to call her. She's going to be most effective with mounted units. So depending on which faction you are, if you're Rohan or Gondor, or anyone that has like a lot of those special horse units, then you might want to focus on Aowen, because she does get some good mounted unit boosts. Damage 0.6%. You can get that up 15 times, so you can probably get that up at least over 10%. So that's just a 10% damage boost to mounted units. Damage received down, everything like that. So Aowen is another good one, but I would mainly focus on her if you do have some of those horse units. And then she's going to become a lot more effective. This is a good one. Large units. Anybody with Giant Slayer is pretty good, because at least late game you're going to come up against a lot of large units, trolls, and whatnot. So Aowen will be good if you... her tier 5 is... her respect 5 is really good too. Every round mounted units recover 2% HP, and that scales obviously. So Aowen's going to be good if you have horse units, but if you're not like big on the horse units, like if you're on the elves or the dwarves, still on the good side, but you don't have as many of those special horse units, I wouldn't focus as much on Aowen. Yeah, that's about it for the tier 1 commanders. I think I touched on all of them. My top 3 personally would be Dwalin, Boromir, and then it's going to depend on what you're going for. Hirgon is very good for sieging, like I said. If you want to be more attack, if you have access to some of the special unit beasts, Haldir is going to be a monster. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video going over some of the tier 1 commanders, let me know. I would be happy to go over some of the more higher tier 2 commanders. Get very interesting. There's a lot of good people in here that I would definitely love to talk about. But there's still some really good commanders in the tier 1, like I said, which is a cool thing about the game. You don't have to sink a ton of money in to get the very best setups. But yeah, there's my rankings on the tier 1 commanders. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like and let me know if you want to see more. I hope you guys are enjoying the game, getting ready for season 2, and I will see you guys out there.